Saudi Arabia is making a significant move in the global fight against terrorism. And this time, it's not in the Middle East, but deep in the heart of West Africa. In November 2024, Saudi-led IMCTC troops were deployed to Burkina Faso, marking a pivotal moment in international counter-terrorism efforts. What are the implications for the region? And why have Saudi forces arrived on African soil now? We're set to explore the geopolitical motivations, the regional impact, and the long-term consequences of this strategic deployment. Let's dive into the origins and purpose of this coalition. The Islamic Military Counter-Terrorism Coalition, or IMCTC, was initiated by Saudi Arabia in 2015. Its mission is straightforward yet ambitious: to unite Muslim-majority countries in the fight against terrorism. The coalition zeroes in on four pivotal areas: ideology, communication, counter-terrorist financing, and military action. Picture it as a Muslim world NATO. However, instead of targeting specific nations, the IMCTC combats terrorism, radical ideologies, and the financial networks that sustain extremist groups. Saudi Arabia stands as the cornerstone of this coalition, not merely a participant, but its leader. The kingdom hosts the IMCTC's headquarters in Riyadh, underwrites a significant portion of its operations, and is instrumental in steering its strategic direction. Saudi Arabia's leadership within the IMCTC underscores its commitment to regional stability and counter-terrorism. It also extends the kingdom's influence across Muslim-majority nations. What makes Burkina Faso a focal point for Saudi Arabia's military deployment? The Sahel region in West Africa has emerged as a critical hotspot for terrorist activities over the past few years. Terrorist groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda and ISIS have capitalized on the region's instability, leveraging local grievances, weak governance, and economic hardships to establish strongholds. At the epicenter of this turmoil is Burkina Faso, where terrorist attacks have resulted in thousands of deaths and the displacement of millions. Consequently, West Africa has become a pivotal area in the global fight against terrorism. The spread of extremist activities in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Chad is no longer contained. It poses a significant threat to local populations and international interests, including vital trade routes and energy supplies. What are the strategic goals behind Saudi Arabia's deployment in Burkina Faso? The IMCTC's mission in Burkina Faso is driven by four key objectives. First, to enhance security cooperation. IMCTC is collaborating with Burkina Faso's security forces to strengthen their capabilities, aiming for a united front against terrorist threats. Second, capacity building. This initiative goes beyond mere presence. IMCTC troops are actively training local forces to improve their skills, from counterinsurgency to intelligence gathering. Building capacity ensures a sustainable security framework that endures even after the coalition's departure. Third, stabilization. The deployment supports broader stabilization efforts, tackling immediate threats while promoting long-term peace in the region. Fourth, intelligence sharing. IMCTC plays a crucial role in facilitating intelligence exchange, essential for preempting attacks and dismantling terrorist networks. What tangible effects will this deployment have on the ground? The presence of IMCTC forces is expected to significantly boost morale among local security forces and communities who have long been battling the relentless spread of terrorism. For many civilians, this deployment represents a beacon of hope, indicating that the fight against insurgent groups is receiving substantial international support. On a regional scale, this deployment sends a strong message to neighboring countries that IMCTC is resolute in its mission to eradicate terrorism in West Africa. If successful, this mission could pave the way for similar collaborative efforts, with other West African nations grappling with terrorist threats. Nations like Mali and Niger might view Saudi Arabia and IMCTC as valuable allies in their counter-terrorism strategies, fostering stronger regional partnerships. While the IMCTC deployment holds great promise, it faces significant challenges. The first major hurdle is logistics. Coordinating multinational forces across vast, often inhospitable terrain is a complex endeavor. With Burkina Faso's limited infrastructure, delays in supplies, reinforcements, and emergency responses are likely. Another challenge lies in understanding local dynamics. Burkina Faso's diverse ethnic landscape includes areas with long-standing tensions. To be effective, IMCTC forces must navigate these dynamics with sensitivity to prevent unintentional harm or mistrust. Lastly, the issue of sustainability looms large. While military interventions can be impactful, they are not a long-term solution. Beyond security, Saudi Arabia's involvement in Burkina Faso holds significant geopolitical importance. Historically, Africa has been a battleground for influence, first dominated by Western powers, and now increasingly by China and Russia. Saudi Arabia's strategic entry into West Africa through the IMCTC is part of a broader movement. Gulf states are actively expanding their reach across the continent. This deployment signifies Saudi Arabia's ambition to serve as a counterbalance to these global powers, providing West African nations with a new ally in their ongoing battle against terrorism. Let's delve into the economic implications of this strategic move. Security extends beyond mere military presence. It encompasses creating a stable environment conducive to economic growth. Saudi Arabia's IMCTC deployment aims to stabilize Burkina Faso and its neighbors, potentially paving the way for economic development and attracting foreign investments. Stability is a magnet for investment, which can invigorate local industries, generate employment, and spur growth in sectors such as agriculture, infrastructure, and energy. Saudi Arabia's involvement could also encourage Gulf states to increase their investments in West Africa, further accelerating regional economic growth. The deployment of IMCTC troops sends a resounding message to the global community. Muslim-majority nations are actively stepping up to combat terrorism with determination and unity. Historically, international counter-terrorism efforts have often been dominated by Western perspectives, but this diverse coalition marks a significant shift in approach. The presence of IMCTC in Burkina Faso highlights the solidarity among Muslim nations in the fight against terrorism, challenging long-standing narratives that have depicted them as passive or divided on security matters. Saudi Arabia's pivotal role within IMCTC underscores that the battle against terrorism transcends borders, faiths, and regions. This initiative is founded on the principle that terrorism is a universal threat. As Saudi Arabia and the IMCTC intensify their efforts in Burkina Faso, they're not merely combating terrorism, they're sending a powerful message of unity, leadership, and a commitment to the future of global security. From counter-terrorism initiatives to regional stabilization efforts, the IMCTC's mission in Burkina Faso is rich with purpose and ambition. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Saudi Arabia's latest move in Africa. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with those interested in geopolitics and international security. And if you want to stay ahead on stories like this, hit that subscribe button. Your support helps us bring a more in-depth analysis of the forces shaping our world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Wacky Insights.